I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo,
and you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have a little bit of a different guest. She's a political cartoonist and satirist from Washington, D.C. She has written many Cats parodies and probably is the only person that I've seen write a positive review on the 2019 movie. So, welcome, Alexandra Bowman. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mike. This is a massive honor. Like you said, I am not a cast member. I am a 22-year-old punk who has written some articles that I find entertaining. I hope others do as well. And I'm eager just to talk about, I guess, what the experience of writing those is like and being like a Cats evangelist in my friend circles. And frankly, it's really it's relieving to speak with you because I fall into like a just hideous variant on the main character syndrome where I feel like I am the only Cats fan in the world. So it's good to know there are other people.
It's interesting because there are a lot of Cats super fans, like extreme fans. Yeah. And then there's like a group that enjoys the show. And then there's a bunch of people that hate it, but everyone that hates it I've never met anybody that's given me a real reason. It's just like, it's not their thing.
Yeah. From what I can tell, just from an unfortunate quantity of conversations I've had with friends, is they hate this idea that it was so financially successful and so widely viewed, despite having what they would call, heavy air quotes, no plot. Like they're angry at the success, and I think a hatred or dislike for something often comes from like some kind of envy, or it's like you're not even a playwright, like you don't even write musicals. What are you envious about? But it's this like hatred at this group of masses that they can't even name. It's something like that.
I think that's an interesting piece because it's like I've never I don't even know how to describe myself. I don't know if I call myself a fan. I don't hate it.
You run a podcast, Nick.
I feel like I know a lot about it.
Sure.
I've learned a lot about it.
Yeah.
But I'm in the boat of where I think it was written wrong. I didn't like the fact that there was no plot, but I never really thought that that's a reason to hate it. Like it's
right.
successful. Like kudos, make that money. Like Andrew Lloyd keep cashing those checks.
Correct.
But it is interesting because it's just like, it is not everyone's cup of tea because it isn't a neat, tidy plot. And It's kind of strange. And that part is where I get like, it's an easy punchline, hence a show like this. But let's start at the beginning. When did you first see it? Did you see it as a kid? Did you see it as an adult?
Yeah, actually, I was interning at the Library of Congress in 2019 in the summer. And I was one day just sent to do work in like the main atrium room. So I had time to like be free on Twitter and kind of go off task. And the trailer came out that day. And it was the day that the trailer came out that sucked me in. I had realized a couple months later that my grandpa had given me Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats years ago. And he had mentioned there was some larger pop culture attachment to it, but I didn't really know what he meant. And I've been taking piano lessons since like age 5, and my teacher once mentioned there was a musical about cats, so I was aware of it. But the trailer was just so captivating, and I mean that as a joke, obviously. But I also was like, I can't believe there's a musical about fluffy animals. That's so cool. And
you never saw a stage production. You didn't even know really, you like had a loose idea that existed. And the 2019 trailer, the movie trailer is that is probably the only good news I've heard come from the movie. Is that it created a fan. It created a fan though.
Oh, very much. Yeah. I just, I learned very quickly what it was. I watched the trailer a couple times and did some research, kind of a rabbit hole that day. And then I realized very quickly that it was based on a book of whimsical, like British American, but we'll just say British, British children's poetry about cats. And I have loved Beatrix Potter since age 5. I guess my first crush was Geronimo Stilton. I love the idea that anthropomorphic animals can be used to make like morality tales more accessible for a wide audience. And so the idea that there was this like juxtaposition of, this was something I wrote in one of the articles I did for the Broadway Beat, like this glorious juxtaposition of the formal and the stupid. And it was also wildly successful. And it was also something that I could use as a personality trait for years to come. So it was a conglomeration of things that kind of drew me in.
So wait, did you see the 2019 movie before have you seen a stage production of it yet?
A production, actually, I have a bulletin board behind my laptop and I have my ticket from the Kennedy Center. I saw it in October 2019 at the Kennedy Center. So I saw the
right
stage
before
production
the movie.
A month before. I think I had I went on a trip to Germany with my family. My dad was on a business trip, and like throughout that trip I listened to Beautiful Ghost like over and over and over again. And that was, I think, early November. So yeah, I'm grateful that like God at least gave me the stage production so I had something to go off of and wasn't completely turned off by the movie.
Yeah, so you would have saw the touring cast from the touring cast 6 before, because that was a group that got like abruptly ended by COVID, and you saw it in DC. Okay, so you got to like, you basically went all in 2019. It's like stage production, trailer to the movie.
Correct.
And it
Correct.
became
And I remember
your personality.
I'm allowed to make that joke. Yes,
okay,
it did.
Not allowed
but that's fine. No, it became it as I kind of wrote in one of those articles that I wrote. It's just shocking how so much of the show's ethos matches up with my pre-existing personality. And I know that's that's something that really centers me, but I just love anthropomorphic animal stories. I love music that is like bombastic and expressive. A variety of styles. Like I love. Let me pull up the article. Let's see if this doesn't take too long.
So this is for everyone that's listening. This is the Broadway Beat article, right? This is
correct. Yeah.
Which is a parody Broadway. Like, is it a website? I mean, I've always seen it on social media.
Yeah, it's a like satire publication.
It kind of reminds me of The Onion. It's The Onion, but for theater.
Correct. It's The Onion, but for theater, and we have a Slack. We pitch headlines in the Slack. They tell us at the end of the week which ones get selected. And I wrote a headline. Basically, we pitch headlines, and then if the headlines are accepted, they tell us to go write the articles. And so
I pay you for this?
They pay me. I won't to not shame my boss. I won't tell you how much or how little they pay me. But I mean, I say that because they barely pay us, but we do technically get paid.
Okay. I feel like this is my wheelhouse. I feel like I should be writing for them.
Oh gosh, yes, you should. You absolutely should. Please. And I know they've changed their system, but I know that originally, I need to check what it is now. You had to send in 5 pitches. Again, I don't know what it is now, so I don't even know if this is helpful, practical information. But you had to send in 5 pitches. If they accepted one, then you became a contributing writer and didn't have to send in 5 at a time anymore. And you could just send in 1. But to not drive my editor nuts, I just always sent them in groups of 10. And then like a month ago, we moved to Slack. And so now we just send them all in Slack. And then at the end of the week, our editor will put up a doc based on like a editor leadership meeting and tell us which ones they want articles for. But I was in the old guard as of like 6 months ago when
I'll just write Cats headlines all day.
Please. I mean, they have a timely headline pitch section and then like a normal one. These will eternally be relevant. So there's demand for all kinds of content. And I'm sure the cast content there's just so much. I've been able to write so much because there's just unlimited fodder. It's a tragic amount of fodder for punching down. But if you're punching down at yourself, it's fine. So the headline I wrote was "Local Woman's Personality Just Dripping with quote allowed to see cats too young." So I'll just preface this by saying, like, I mentioned that I found out about it personally in November or summer 2019 when the trailer came out, but I was just astounded as I was writing this, just again how much of my preset personality matched with that of the ethos of the show, if you will. Totally. I can read a little bit. Do you want me to? Is that okay?
Yeah,
just to give people
just
any
to give
kind
some
of idea of
give
what
some
I'm
preface too. Is this? I got sent this by multiple different people.
And, did you?
Yes, because I'm in the small little circle that I live in, where I'm the main character. I'm the Cats person. And so I got sent it, and it was hilarious, and I want you to read a little bit of it. And then I realized, which is why we're talking today, is that when I got to your website and some of the other stuff you've done, is I read some of your other things that also got sent to me a while before that
my
no one
Lord.
pieced together. Like even you have a cartoon with Buster Jones and James Corden. And even like that, I was like, I remember seeing this. Someone sent this to me like when the movie came out. And so a lot of this stuff has come together to where it's like very clear that your satire is right in the same wheelhouse that I like to live. So it's perfect. So share a little bit, because everyone that is listening to this is likely a Cats fan that will also hopefully find a lot of this very humorous.
Thank you. And also, just very briefly, like, it is so wonderful to hear that, because I post a lot on social media, and many or most, if not all, of my biggest resume bullets that I'm most proud of. And I'm a 22-year-old. I'm a Georgetown senior. I'm graduating in a week, like literally a week to the day. And I spend a lot of time on social media, and a lot of my biggest jobs have come as a result of Twitter. So I've been able to justify my continued overusage of social media. But it means a lot to hear that I'm not just posting into the void, and to be reassured that it's actually brightening people's lives. Yeah. Oh, Lord, what a relief. But yeah.
So like and subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's so much good stuff here. I'm trying to figure out what to say. It's not that long. You just stop me when you want me to stop. Is that okay?
Just read the whole thing.
Thank you.
We got time.
Fantastic. All right, I'll try to do this without Snick laughing at my own jokes. Yeah. Local woman Alice Bowman, wink wink, has recently drawn attention for, in a way that is more simultaneously implicit and explicit than anything else in history, having a personality just gushing with the glaring fact that she was allowed to ingest Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats far too young. Quote, "I'm not a furry or anything," said Bowman to our reporter, wearing an Animaniacs t-shirt and holding a laptop adorned with stickers featuring Garfield, Tom and Jerry, Puss in Boots, and the Cheshire Cat. "I'm a furry in the way Beatrix Potter was a furry." See, that's what I said. "I think anthropomorphic animals are an ideal way for artists and writers to convey meaning through metaphors that are easy to comprehend, in line with literary tradition, and utterly charming to children and adults alike. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go finish my paper on T.S. Eliot for my Georgetown Masters in English. No, of course I didn't understand a word of The Wasteland. This paper is on, paragraph break. According to local friend of Bowman, Betty Carlton's, is a friend on one of my friends' names who's a hater, all of Bowman's deepest interests juxtapose the formal and the stupid. Quote, "She's simultaneously as interested in methods of literary critical theory as she is in videos of cute furry animals slamming into glass doors thinking they were windows," said Carlton, holding her head in her hands and staring at a chessboard to communicate the image of a smart person engaging with perplexity. "And also, I don't know why she feels the need to explain all the time she's not crazy and that Cats is really mainstream. No one's critiquing it. Oh, and every time she texts me about Cats, I tell her she's insane and needs to stop before I block her." Bowman's piano teacher, John Ferguson, play on my Joan Ferguson, who was my teacher, noted that much of I made a typo. I wrote Bowman, and then my editor didn't catch it, so it says Bowman on the site. And that much of Bowman's artistic taste also seems to juxtapose the tastes of the masses, as well as those with an eye for the classic and complex. She values boldness and spectacle with a healthy sense of tradition and technical intricacy. She's fascinated by a vast, eclectic variety of artistic styles, all with this definitive sense of flashy spectacle and desire to shock through vivid characterization. It's exhausting. Quote, "She seems to be drawn towards media that are an acquired taste but simultaneously benefit from mainstream appeal," said Ferguson, making us think of matcha tea, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, and Antifa. Quote, "Let's hope that when she finally grows up, she leans more into the Andrew Lloyd Webber side of that spectrum and not the Tim Burton side." End quote. At press time, we received word from a local lab that Bowman is not like this because of early exposure to cats, but instead a dysfunctional nuclear power plant. That's it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. There's so much in there. I like immediately think of the hot dog meme just because you like threw the Tim that reference in there.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew Lloyd Webber hides in a basement. I'm the guy who
I
did
feel like
this.
I didn't post it. There's so many things that I start like memeing and then I'm like, no one's gonna get this, and then I end up deleting it. And I was gonna do that for when the movie came out. Was like Andrew Lloyd Webber of the like who found the guy who did this. Like, yeah, you greenlight this movie even though you stepped away from it. It's a full article. I want you to, when this episode comes out, send the episode to your hater friend and say, hey, look, this is real. I've made it.
Yeah. look, there's a podcast where they invite cast members and they asked me.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I don't know why I'm here. I'm frankly offended on their behalf on your behalf that you invited me. But
No,
anyway.
this is great. I think
Thank you.
like the to me the mix of this podcast is, yes, it's mostly cast members because they're the ones that have the most knowledge to speak about it. But I think the fan in, I really still want to find a hater, but like the people that have some like experiences tied to the show is fun because it's what makes it so unique. And as long as, I mean, we'll get to the $1 million question at the end, but like my critique of the show has nothing to do with, I couldn't tell you the first thing about the musical numbers or dancing or any of that stuff. I can tell you about the plot. I'm more in your world of like the writing and like storytelling. And to me, the storytelling lacks, and the movie storytelling still lacks, but it lacks a little bit less because they changed it.
Right.
So
yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about the movie.
Great. Yes.
This is now.
I have 3 areas of expertise generally, and the Cats movie is one of those areas. So let's go.
I want to hear. This is why you're here. I have not talked that much on this podcast about the movie, even though the movie is what spawned the podcast. I did do a review of it. I saw a press showing of it back before they fixed it. Like I saw the first week when it was still like half edited.
Right.
I really do think you might be one of the only positive reviews I've seen on the show. Like you wrote a review and it is a positive review. So like, when did you see it? What is like, did you write that review? Like, was that an official thing for your, like the paper that you wrote it for? Or was this kind of for fun?
Oh, so yeah, that original review was for like the Georgetown Art Magazine. So I was a sophomore at the time. And I know that the title is Cats Can Have a Reluctantly Positive Review is a Treat. One thing I wrote that title kind of as an attention grabber because yes, I write with love towards the movie in this article, but I think I'm looking at it now, like I think I spend about 80% of it critiquing the movie and then saying the only reason I enjoyed this was because I really like cats and anything about cats makes me happy. so it's technically negative, the most
but positive review I've still read about this at all. Lord. Even though there's critiques and everything about it, it's still a headline and an ending positive thing. Everybody else just rips on it.
Yeah. I mean, I said, what did I say? Let's see. I'm reading this. Okay. As I said, I unironically enjoyed Cats, but I've been unable to settle on any definitive reasons for this other than my loyalty to the original musical and what it stands for. Okay, so here's some very love letter lines about both the musical and the movie. The show's avant-garde and integration of and this was writing from 2 years ago, so I apologize for I apologize. The show's avant-garde integration of charming British children's poetry with an Andrew Lloyd Webber score that incorporates a myriad of musical genres, and it's inexplicable success despite its unusual, potentially and frequently alienating premise is immensely appealing to me as an example of a perilous creative venture that paid off and earned the love and respect of audiences worldwide. The story of the original stage production is a tale, is a tale of a nonconformist underdog rising to success, a love letter to creators, an encouraging word to the artistic renegade. Oh, gross. I mean, it's extremely pretentiously written, but that's, I think, one of the reasons I like the music. And it's not like an inner psychological thing. It is astounding to me. It is an inner psychological thing, but it's not the plurality in the reasons that I like the show. It's amazing to me that something that has such a polarized has had such a polarized reaction over time has been able to be so financially successful, and something that matches up so much with what I'm hoping to do with my work, which is creating entertainment for a wide audience that maybe uses anthropomorphic animals or Disney-esque storytelling to talk about social issues. Like at its root, even the stage musical is about the dangers of social tribalism, and so like I do political cartoons about Trump and the GOP and racism and environmental issues. And at the end of the day, like this musical, yes, it's entertaining and there's only a little bit of like a morality tale in there. But at the end of the day, it's about celebrating individualism while also being inclusive. That's at the root of the show. And so for something like that, where you're using anthropomorphic animals towards a social good, eat your heart out, Zootopia, I'm so thrilled that it did so well. And it captures a lot of what I'm hoping to do with my career. So it's
such an articulate way of basically being like, it's a cult. And we get to hear about each one of them. It's like, because the more I hear about the show, there is a lot of what you said, I think resonates, which is there's no plot. The plot is that you're just getting to witness this family, this tribe, this group, and you're getting to your point, to individualism. You get to kind of hear about how they're all different, but they're still together in a family.
Right.
Then as I've learned more about this show, because granted, when I started this podcast, I'd seen it twice. And I didn't even see the movie at that point. I'd seen the show twice total.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
That was my whole understanding of the entire show, was 2 Broadway revival productions. Or like matinees. I think I saw both matinees. So it's like, I didn't even go at night. I saw 2 o'clock on a Saturday or 3 o'clock on a Sunday shows.
Right.
And it is, I just started learning about how sexually tone there is. There's like Victoria's coming of age and Demeter's being abused, and Grisabella's most likely a sex worker, and all this other stuff. And then it's, to your point, it's like, it's a kid's show. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a kid's show. But it is interesting to you say, like, it is like a parallel to all of the stuff. And it's a lot that you can relate to now, even though it's 41 years old. Right. And so it's like, it's held true because of that. And I think a big part of what has kept it holding true is almost everybody can find somebody in the show or some cat in the show that they relate to. And so there is some personal, like, oh, I kind of I'm that cat. And so I've enjoyed that piece because I can see myself in that character.
Right. And if you think about the source material, like, I assume all of your listeners know, like, it's a book of children's poetry. There's like 20 poems about just describing these adorable little individual animals and their little personalities. And it's a satire of cats as a species, of course. Like, in Mr. Mistopheles, if you read the poem, it's about cats that steal your stuff and how annoying they are. But it's like, haha, in his mind, he's a little magician. How cute is that? And like, all of the poems are that.
Yes, except the part about this, that Grisabella is not in the book.
Right, because it's too sad. Right.
Too scary and too sad for children. Right. And then that is the premise for your entire show. Correct. Which is, again, goes back to, we're going to build around a story that was too scary for children, and we're going to make this a show that's mostly for children.
Right. And well, it makes sense if you think about the thesis of the book of poetry, which is, this is a satire about cats, the species. Like, I don't think there's anything about unless you're really punching down at sad old cats, you know. There's nothing about the text of Grisabella, the glamour cat, that in any way is satirical. So I understand why he cut it for multiple reasons. But and of course,
that's the root of the show.
Right, which is interesting. Yeah, and I actually, you know, I'd heard that the Demeter backstory, but where did you get that from? Because I've heard that, but I've never been sure where that's pulled from, or where the book of lore is, or whatever.
This is what has become really challenging about this show, is that there's 41 years of history. There's 6 different versions of Broadway tours in the US, and that's even more so when you really think about, like, 6 is technically pre-COVID and post-COVID, which were 2 totally different casts. Right. It's in Vienna running. It's been running in the UK. It's been running on the West End. It's on a Royal Caribbean cruise. It's on. They did the South Korea during COVID run. It's in Australia. Been touring, so it's been running everywhere for so long. So there are some, like, the headcanons that are out there on the internet. And then there are, because each person does a slightly different version or has a different, because it's a very loose, like, I think everyone says Chrissy Cartwright comes in and tells the story, and there are a couple known truths. So, like, over my 70 episodes, I've heard versions of what people can remember they've been told about, like, their character. So it's like someone comes in and does a day where they go through the Book of Cats. And it's like, here's what you need to know about each one. And a couple of the, like, known truths are, one is Demeter was in an abusive relationship with McCavity. That's like one of the known things. Victoria's dance is basically her losing her virginity. It's like a known thing.
That's
so, like,
barely implicit, really.
Totally. Yes, totally. So there's a couple of things that are just like, this is fact. We know this is fact. And then there's a lot that is 2 characters or 2 actors playing it because they're friends off stage, or they decided they want to play this way, or they want to go. Jokingly, I've been talking about how my goal is to influence everybody's version of it by saying it. And I know I've influenced a couple where they've gone in, and not materially influenced, but like, hey, you should play this character. Like, have you thought about playing this character with this relationship? Like
Right.
this person is your mother. Have you thought about that way? And it's like,
Right.
no. And then say, go try that. Because it doesn't change the lyrics, it doesn't change the dancing. It's just changed some reactions to the person. So I
Right.
interviewed somebody else today, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So let's just say I have interviewed and convinced people to try some things, because that's been my goal of the show, is to slowly influence the outcomes of Cats.
That was your
but
secret plot the
that's
whole
my
time.
plot. That's been my goal. That's the only goal. It's the only reason I keep doing this is I talk to people because my goal is to change the ending.
Right. Well, another way of saying that might be your ultimate goal is to add a plot to this stupid show. That's what you're trying to do very gradually.
I loosely want to. I don't think you can add a plot without. I mean, that's what the movie did. The movie tried
Right.
to add a plot, and it kind of failed. Like they basically said, we're going to take Victoria and make her the narrator,
Right.
and we're going to add in some others. Like they tried to make McCavity a lot more villainous and make a true beginning, you know, like a conflict resolution type of thing. Like they
Right.
attempted to do that, and it didn't work. Like it
Well,
objectively
okay,
didn't work. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died.
Can I actually ask, and I'm an English major, I'm ready for this, like, how did it not work? Because my biggest beefs with the movie were, I enjoyed the CGI, but I obviously see why that's a problem for the vast majority of human beings. And the slapstick was awful, and apparently the music was written wrong. I don't know how or why.
Well, there were some
Every couple months, someone sends me that video. It's like, why the Cats movie music is bad, and I haven't watched it.
They went with the original Mungo Jerry Rumple teaser, like the British version.
Right.
So it's a totally different song.
I prefer that version.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that, and I did enjoy that song when I saw the show. So it's like, oh, it's just completely different. I think they
Right.
changed some numbers. The jump cut editing made it impossible to see any of the dancing, so I couldn't tell if the dancing was good or not. Like I'm assuming, and Andy Blankenbuehler is like an incredible choreographer. I assume that dancing, and they had amazing dancers.
Yeah.
I assume what they were doing was awesome. I couldn't see it because it was like
Right.
you got repositioned so often that you couldn't
Right.
really follow what was happening.
Right.
So, but to answer your question, I think from a storytelling perspective, I mean, I'm more of a sitcom fan, so I like the A/B storylines, like,
Right.
and then tying them together at the end, where there's like two conflict resolutions, many things happening, and hopefully they come together, and that's like
Right.
all sitcom writing.
Right.
I think that Cats doesn't have that, because the whole point of Cats is you are being welcomed in to watch this like ritual, this
Right.
little piece of their world. And
Mhm.
the whole story is, to your point, just getting to see the individualism. It's not really a
Right.
singing competition like that, because
Right.
otherwise Tugger doesn't think he's a choice. Like, and a couple of them don't think
Right.
that they're there. So if it was a singing competition and they can't win, it's not really a competition. And then why is there this like orgy in the middle? Because the ball's an orgy.
It was a lunch break.
Yeah, the ball's an orgy. Like that's another one of the like known facts. And so
Right.
it's like, why would you have all this? So it's really hard to tie a story into it. And so it's
Right.
like a redemption story technically, but you can't do a redemption story fully if you don't have Grisabella's whole backstory, which isn't what Cats is. The cat story isn't Grisabella's backstory. It's here's the
Right.
tribe, and we're gonna like get some assumptions about her, and then she's gonna go in and quote unquote win. And so I think
Right.
that they tried to force in, like, I need to give you a little bit of explanation, because they were trying to build for a mass audience. Like they should have just
Right.
lived in a little world where it's like, let's just build this for the Cats fans and make it a
Right.
little
Yeah.
indie film, and it would have been fine. But they built for the
Right.
mass audiences, which means that you had to explain in the very
Right.
beginning what in the world is going on. And they didn't really
Right.
do that even that way very well.
Right, right. Well, I think part of the interesting aspect of the show, which we're seeing play out live in this conversation and conversations you've had with people, is that it, like you said, it gives you a look into their world and gives you the opportunity to put headcanons on the characters, and it's built for
Mhm.
people who enjoy the ability to do that.
Correct.
So if that's not something that interests you, then of course you're not going to enjoy the show.
And you
And
can do that.
shoehorning that in takes away part of the storytelling, I would argue, like magic and effect of the entire production.
And
But
you
yeah.
can do that on stage, because
Right.
if I ever see the show again, the first thing I want to do is I want to watch the twins. Because
Yeah.
the twins are wild to me. Like they're gonna see stuff before, and I can do that because the main attraction can be happening in front of me, and I can still watch the ensemble characters on the sides doing their thing, and they all are doing their thing, which is like an incredible acting skill, because that's why they're staying in their character. In a
Right.
movie, you frame stuff to see, like you tell the audience what you need to watch. There
Right.
isn't the ability to just say, oh, I'm going to watch those two other cats the whole time, because
Right.
it's not being shot for you that way. And so that's a little
Right.
bit of a
Right.
challenge with the way that this whole thing is set up. Is you're supposed to immerse yourself in there, and a movie's not meant for you to do that. A movie's meant for you to be directed around to where you need to go.
Right, and that's ninja level analysis of why adapting something across media, like a stage show into a movie, is so much more difficult than simply, bringing a camera around through the stage, like the 1998 version, or storyboarding. It's so much more involved than that, especially for a story that relies so much on the audience's imagination and the ability to see all the characters in motion at once.
And I think
Exactly.
they just spent a lot of money thinking I have enough big names that it
Yeah.
won't matter.
Right.
And
Right.
it did, because every
It did.
single person distanced themselves quickly from that movie
Right.
and
Ugh,
don't
can you
want to be
imagine?
associated with it at all.
Can you imagine being Tom Hooper, or like anyone who invested any significant amount of time on that? I just would die.
I honestly, I don't know how much time he invested in it, because it wasn't edited until like the last minute.
That's
So
true.
like, it
That's
felt
fair.
very rushed. And, I just, the timing of everything was very strange for me with that movie.
Yeah.
Not just like when it came out, but even the trailer when it dropped. This movie's still not out. I just saw it. It's coming out. I think it might be out by the time that this releases. But the
Right.
the same day that trailer came out, Top Gun's trailer came out. And
Hmm.
Top Gun was another like blockbuster, massive
Mm.
movie. And so
Mm.
even every decision along the way, even before it became a running joke, I was like,
Right.
well, your trailer is being drowned by one of the biggest like
Right.
movie releases that's expected at that time. Like
Right.
Top Gun was supposed to be huge. It released
Right.
with either a Marvel movie or something else on the same weekend. So it released the
Oh,
weekend with some other huge, massive blockbuster movie. It's like
right.
nobody thought this through. Like the studio, I don't think whoever made decisions didn't think through a lot of things. I think just
Right.
assumed, because you had Idris Elba, Taylor Swift, James
Yeah.
Corden,
Yeah.
Jason Derulo, like Rebel Wilson, like you had such big names, Jennifer Hudson. You
Right.
just Judi Dench, you assumed, Ian, like you keep going. It's just like all of those
Right.
names you assumed, it doesn't matter. People are going to go see it. And it was
Right.
like the first group I saw a press showing. And that should be a
Oh,
group of people that should be professional. Like you're there for an invited reason. You have to be invited to that version.
right.
And people were cracking up in the first 5 minutes. And I'm like, if this group is
Oh,
laughing, this
right.
is not going to lend well for the general public.
No, no,
And
it's not.
so it
Yeah.
became a running joke, and it's got to live on as a Rocky Horror type of thing, is the only way that
Yeah.
that movie lives any further.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and
it's
for like, as a
crazy to me.
young yeah, and I guess as a younger fan who's only 2 years into this, but is way deep emotionally into this, like, I think if I'm hoping to work in film and TV, and I'm not necessarily, like, aiming for, like, filmmaking as the jackpot. I think just that's just not the cause I'm particularly interested in. If I ever get to the honor of adapting a movie, and I've never made a movie. I've made lots of little YouTube videos. I've never made a movie. I have no idea how difficult it is. It's completely out of my depth. Obviously, I'm 22. But one thing I would really hope to do is not create a movie that makes people who are sincere, loving, honest fans of something feel embarrassed of the thing that they love. I think that is the ultimate
Totally.
failure. And as a Hobbit fan, a Hobbit movie fan, where seeing The Hobbit on December 23rd, 2012 was like a very formative moment for me as a person, developing interests in 6th grade and middle school. Like, it just was a formative experience for me, that I was so deeply engrossed with something that basically was accepted by critics and most of my friends as something poorly executed. And
Mhm.
that it was interesting. I'm not like, I wasn't traumatized, but it was just a mental exercise that I had to really navigate. Maybe I learned things from it that have made me a better person, but that's just something I would really hope to avoid if I ever got, or if anyone directs some kind of adaptation of something. I hope that they identify that potential humiliation of fans as the ultimate thing of not to avoid, like the
Yeah.
anti-jackpot.
I don't honestly don't think they put a single thought into that. I think it was
Mm,
I mean, it seems like a cash grab. It seemed like it was a really big budget with a good, like, it's enough of a vehicle that
right,
it could be done well. Like, I'm not convinced
right,
I'm convinced it could be done well if you'd have to curate a little bit of the story a little bit more. you'd have
Right.
to do some of these things to make it a little bit more like dance heavy and focus on that, and maybe wide angle shot a lot more of it.
Right.
But I mean, again, it's got 41 years of stage success, and it's
Right.
currently running in, I know of at least 4 versions currently running. So
Wow. Yeah.
like it has the ability to like show, you're seeing it now. All these Broadway shows are ending early and stopping because they don't sell tickets. Like, it's still selling. And so I think the
Right.
movie could have sold. It was just really
Right.
poorly executed.
Right, and this was the centerpiece of that quote unquote positive review, was that Tom Hooper chose to die on possibly the worst creative hill I could imagine,
Yeah.
which is he identified the primary reason of the film's success, of the stage show's success, as being the illusion of seeing humans in cat outfits. And he chose to make that the centerpiece
Mhm.
of his movie, the thing that you could not get past. Like, there's some creative decisions where it would be like a one and done thing, or you know, it's a passing thing, or it doesn't distract from the whole movie. But by choosing to die on that hill, he ensured that basically the if that one thing screwed with audiences, or they didn't enjoy that one thing, they wouldn't like the whole movie.
Yeah.
And given how potentially polarizing that one decision is, it just baffles me that he went with that. I don't think anyone goes because they're eager to see humans dressed as cats. Why do they go? And I'm sure it changes for every person, but we can generalize. Like, they go for the music, they go for the
Mhm.
spectacle, they go to see the sets. You know, they go to see. What do you think? What do you
Well,
think they go to see?
I definitely think when you go see it, it's the singing and dancing. Like, it's an
Yeah.
incredible, like, you talk to anybody that's done it, it's one of the highest injury shows for dancers, like
Oh,
a high
wow.
level of injuries, because it is extremely demanding, because they're
Mhm.
pretty much all dancing the entire time. And so I
Right.
think that was when I first saw it the first time, and like I made fun of the ending and the plot, and the same kind of punchlines that everyone else can make. But
Right.
I did walk out going, that is, and I saw Broadway revival of it.
Right.
That is peak performance
Right.
of peak, like of their ability, of that skill set, like to tumble, to dance, to do those
Right.
like different things. You're seeing
Right.
extremely talented people doing something that is extremely demanding, and
Right.
singing while they're doing it. It's one of the only shows, it might still be the only show, that the dancing is so demanding that they have singers in the booth that sing with the singers to help, because
Right.
it's so hard that like they have to just catch their breath when they can.
Right.
And so that to me is where it's like, that's what people I think go to see the show for. There's a little novelty, but I think that novelty wore off 25 years ago. Like, the novelty is kind of gone. Like, the novelty probably happened in the 80s, but now
Right.
it's like the show's been running for 41 years. Like, what you're walking into, or you should have at least a
Right.
general sense of what you're walking into. And so you're
Right.
going to see these incredible performers sing and dance and do these extremely difficult numbers.
Right. Right.
And so that's where I thought the movie, when I saw the cast, it's like of dancers, not the super celebrities, the dancers,
Right.
like the twins, and I'm
Stephen
drawing a blank on their name.
McRae.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they had some really talented dancers that I really
Mhm.
didn't get to see enough of. Like, you just didn't get to watch it in the movie as the level you would want to.
Right, and they also, instead of making the centerpiece be the dancing, they chose to invent an entirely new centerpiece, which
Yeah.
I think you could argue was the big name aspect. And, I'm
Yep.
sure I don't think it's ever gonna be possible to determine, like, how dependable is having a big name cast for getting box office returns. Like, I'm sure it's sometimes worked and sometimes hasn't because of a conglomeration of other reasons in various cases. But I think to have a movie which, for the vast majority of, like, the mass American or worldwide movie viewing audience, be a bunch of good actors being on screen in a grotesque manner, that's not going to work, because you can barely see that it's them. It's just like these freaky people with the Taylor Swift's face or whatever. That's not
Yeah.
really Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool because it felt like I was watching one of my own dreams. Like, I adored that, but I don't think the vast majority of people, clearly they didn't enjoy that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was fascinating, and I would loved seeing like the psychedelic like fireworks on display, and it's amazing. But I don't think that works for most people.
It didn't land.
I'm glad it was made. I'm glad it happened, because it's like, oh my gosh, if you sound authoritative enough, you can get movies like this made. Probably not for at least another couple decades, but I think I wrote that in that article.
Yeah.
Too. Like, for someone who hopes to have one or two just total cult classic box office failure type achievements, maybe not movies, but whatever, in my lifetime, like, it brings me joy to know that something as ridiculous as this was actually created.
For $100 million. Like, that's the part. It's like, it wasn't just like some whim decision where it's like, oh, we'll make it and see what happens. Like, they put a lot of money into this. Like, they assumed this was going to be big.
Correct.
No. And it was. Yeah. It was in its own way.
Yeah.
But
it's fascinating. It'll probably be written down in like film history books for various unflattering reasons.
I think it won 6 Razzies that year. And it created a fan in you. Without it would be one less Cats fan in the world.
Oh, yeah. Right? I mean, yeah, yeah, that's right. And you have to wonder how many other people like that there are, because I probably wouldn't have heard about it. I wasn't plugged into like Broadway, period. I enjoyed Les Mis, like the soundtrack, and my parents took me to see Beauty and the Beast on Broadway 3 times when I was 5, where I dressed as Cogsworth, and I was the only little girl in the theater dressed as Cogsworth. Like, I enjoyed Broadway, but nothing close to what I'm trying to become now. And I'm actually just met with my new master's thesis advisor this week, and I'm hoping to write about the effect of British culture and politics on kind of the creation of Evita, Jesus Christ Superstar, and ideally Cats, if my advisor lets me shoehorn that in. And it's correct. Like, the movie enabled me to learn about this, and I think hopefully just indirectly the movie probably did a lot of good for introducing people to a whole range of topics they might not have otherwise known about. I'm not naive enough to think that there's more than like 2 cases of that in the world, but hopefully it did happen.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. I will anxiously be waiting to see your final thesis. And if you're able to sneak Cats in, if you need an authoritative figure like myself to be quoted in your thesis, I'm here as honestly, an expert on Cats.
Honestly, yeah, please. Well, and yeah, I'm a contributing writer for DC Metro Theater Arts at the moment, and it's this like Washington DC based performing arts review preview publication. And I just learned a month or 2 ago that Cats is coming to the National Theater in January. So I wrote to my editor in advance with lots of like winky face laughing emojis. Like, look, I know it's however many months away, 8 months away, but please, can I call dibs in advance? She's like, yeah, fine. You can call dibs in advance. So
you're reviewing. Got it.
If I do like commit a war crime and get fired from the publication in 8 months, I don't want to look back on this with regret. But right now I am set to review it in 8 months.
I'm excited for you to see it on stage again.
Yeah, me too. I'll do it in costume.
Are you gonna go? Okay. Do you have a Cat's costume?
I do. I commissioned one from this amazing artist you can find her on Instagram. It's at Pixie Dust Jellicle. Her name is Kayla Bennett. And she does commissions for the entire outfits. And it brings so much joy, and it's brought my Georgetown buddies so much confusion and so much joy. And so it's been a real light of the last couple months here. So,
I love it. I have a tail. That's all I've got.
Hey,
so
it's worth money. It's like it's a couple fancy nights out, for lots of joy and interesting Friday evenings when you're alone and bored.
I think it would shock most people to know this, but I don't think the majority of people that I know even know that I talk about cats on a podcast frequently. Really? It surprises me because it's a fun like fact. It's a good 2 truths and a lie because it generally throws people off because it's not like a big part of my personality. I'm not a theater goer. I mean, I'm a theater goer. I'm not like a theater expert. I love going, but I go as a fan and I walk out confused of what I saw 90% of the time. And you can see, if you can see behind me, I've got 2 athletes, I've got more sports in my life than anything, as I'm about to watch hockey and basketball this evening. But I do think it is interesting because it's like, owning one and having that and I think it would confuse everybody. Even this hat, I'm wearing a hat from the podcast that someone got me, is like most people don't even recognize that that it's most of my friends aren't Cats fans. and most of them are Cats haters. So it sounds like we have a lot of mutual friends that don't get what's going on in this fandom. But
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's been again, like I know that I bring it up at parties to seem interesting. I know that I do that, but it's sincere and I love talking about it. Like I was at this student council meeting for the Georgetown College Academic Council or whatever, like our end of my 4 years final pizza lunch thing, and I brought it up, or someone brought it up, and then I like lost it. Like my eyes are already huge, but they got like 3 times the size, and like a dean from Georgetown University turned to me and you got freakishly excited. What is wrong with you? Like it's something that I think enables me to show joy to people and bring joy to people, and it introduces them to another kind of art that they might not have considered thinking about. And I get to teach them about how Steven Spielberg once did this interpretation of it during the Blitz, and Don Bluth, and learning about animation and storytelling. And I wrote all these articles analyzing it and one of the articles I wrote was about how T.S. Eliot once wrote this very famous article called Tradition and the something talent. I should know. I'm pulling it up. Tradition and the Individual Talent. There it is. Where he actually described like the recipe for making good art. And the idea basically was art needs to be made up of a series of individual elements that when combined work well together. And it's basically been a cautionary tale for me in conversation, like as a means of both my own thinking and talking about other people's art, for gauging how to create a successful work of art for niche audiences, for mass audiences. It's just this fascinating case study that's also about cute furry animals. It's been just an important presence in my life for me, learning what kind of literature and what kind of media I am interested in, and it's also makes me seem interesting at parties. So
I have the reverse. It's not brought up, and then whenever it comes up, it's like, oh, I probably know more about this than most people. Like, here I am. Like, what do you need to know? And it's like, oh, no, I've thought about this at length at the plot. Right. I know a very specific set of it. Like, I couldn't tell you. It bothers some of the other people in our podcast network who they're like, yeah, this person was in Cats in the 80s. And I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. Like, I'm like, they might be the most famous Broadway person, but I have no idea who you're talking about. Yeah. And I'm like, but I can tell you that I don't think it's possible for Skimbleshanks' train to stop at the stations that are in his song if he's on the train that he does, because they shouldn't stop on that train station. And it's like, that's the level of detail of the story that I'm ready for. Not anything about the singing, dancing, acting, whoever did it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, speaking of knowing people from the 80s, so like I might have mentioned I run a satire publication at Georgetown, and I founded it 3 years ago, and I'm about to leave, and it's a whole emotional thing. And I passed it on to 2 new friends of mine, and I just got to meet, like, they're both Georgetown students, and I got to meet one of their moms, and it turns out like both of this kid's parents are actors and have been for like 40 years. And they were actually neighbors with Terrence Mann, who's like one of the original Rum Tum Tuggers. And so I bought myself, your listeners won't be able to see it, but I bought myself this like vintage figurine of him from, it's like 1984. So I don't know when Terrence Mann did it, but hypothetically I have original a figurine. Broadway.
He's one of the few I know, because I have spoken with him. And we've not been able to make an episode, but I have talked with him about doing an episode. And he was a lovely human being. He was the original Broadway Tugger.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's weird because I have a figurine of my friend's neighbor on my desk. Yeah.
That is so great.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. And it's just been a wonderful conversation starter. And like I said, like a method of literary criticism, which is shocking given what it is, but I'm grateful regardless. Yeah.
Let's do some rapid fire. If you got to perform in the show, who would you want to be?
Given my current skill set, the only one that doesn't dance is Bustopher Jones, so I would do that.
Pretend that you could do magically any of the singing and dancing, because I can't do any of them either. That's like the same thing. And Bustopher Jones, you'd have to be Gus too, so that would be hard.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
How hard
Okay,
would
so
that be?
ignoring that, who would you want to do if you could do it?
My costume is Rumpelteazer. I think she's adorable, and there's some, I think, hopefully some personality parallels there
Okay,
between me and her. I think her, or the Rum Tum Tugger, he's cool.
love it.
Love
Um,
the vibe, the just unmitigated gall that he has. It's
totally.
something I aspire to.
Yeah,
Just the complete lack of shame. It's precisely
it's
what I'm aiming for.
they are main character energy
Yeah,
hardcore.
yeah.
Who's your favorite and least favorite cat?
Favorite, probably, I think Rumpelteazer just has simultaneously just this wonderful eye-popping color scheme, and I love Garfield, and she's got Garfield's
Mhm.
color scheme going on. Least favorite, that's tough. Mm, I don't like this fangirl thing that etc. has. I think, I mean,
Okay,
that's, yeah.
that's a
I
good
don't
that's a
know,
good
the
answer.
inclusion, I mean, of course, if you're gonna have this rock star character, you need to show, like, the giggling teenage girls, but, that bothers me.
Yeah,
I've always been bothered that in McCavity, all the girl cats get up and start fangirling over him together. It's like, I feel like Rumpelteazer would have more dignity than
yeah,
that. So, etc. is kind of like the symbol of that mentality, so I've been considering if I were to get an additional costume, I might get hers just because it's an interesting color scheme, but I don't like the fangirl aspect that's carried through to multiple male cats.
yeah.
So
It's an easy answer for a lot of that. So I'm
is
with
it?
you.
Yeah. Oh, and very quickly, like, it is such a bummer. And this, I don't know if this is a hot take, but you don't need to cut the entire number of Growl Tiger's Last Stand. Just change the two stanzas. That's it.
Uh,
Or make them some other breed. It doesn't matter. Like, just, the point is that they're bad guys. Like, just even write out,
yeah.
instead of Siamese, just write bad guy cats. Like, I don't know. Just when I was one of the reasons I think I love this show is that I listened to it while walking around Georgetown and getting used to this new phase of, like, freedom in my life. And I used to listen to the, like, Broadway production while walking around campus. And for whatever reason, just the operetta in Growl Tiger's Last Stand was this massively emotionally affecting piece of music for me. It
Mhm.
sounds so silly to say, but it's just so unfortunate that they cut the whole thing because it's so unnecessary. And it's just, honestly, I might be insane, but it's just one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard, is that, like, 2-minute sequence. So I don't know if anyone's listening, just keep the whole
It's
song, just change the two stanzas.
it's a weird one because there's a couple reasons why it can get cut. So part of it is like, is it getting canceled, or they need them to change it? Then they don't want to really
Right.
change the lyrics because they try to stay true to the poems. So they've in
Uh-huh.
general not done that. There's also, you have to find someone that can sing the operatic part, which isn't always
Mhm.
necessarily the same because it's one. I think it's Gus, right? Isn't Gus usually Growl
Yeah.
Tiger? So like you need a
Yeah.
Gus that could do that as well. And
Right.
so sometimes it's not the decision as like for the lyrics, it can be a decision because of other rationales there. And they've done that in some other
Gotcha.
shows where there's
Yeah.
like, this person isn't like, somebody else is going to sing this number, which is not the
Mhm.
normal way they do it because they found an incredible dancer to
Mhm.
do that role, but maybe not sing it for other pieces. So
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I guess, adjusting my take to account for new information. Please don't cut it purely because of those two stanzas.
yeah,
Please don't do that. Yeah, it's not necessary.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. And also, like, I know in the Broadway version from 1983 or 4, it changes based on which Wikipedia article you pull up. The guy who sings Gus, it sounds like he is Gus, like an older dude who isn't that good at opera singing, trying to do his best job at opera singing. So yeah, like, you'll need a good opera singer for Griddlebone or, Jelly Lorem, right? But
Mhm.
you don't need an expert. You
Well,
can do someone who's passable, like, who sounds comedic about it, but
you can
is good.
go and find, I don't know if you'll be able to find it at a local bookstore, but the
Mm.
Gus was Stephen Hanna, I believe is how you say his name.
Oh, okay,
And he
sure.
wrote a
Mhm.
diary about his
Oh,
time. Like he published his diary during the rehearsals of the Broadway production. And
oh
he
my
talks about
gosh.
Griddlebone and Growl Tiger
Right.
because it's a part that was like a big part of him forming it. So it's a book you should, as a fan and
Oh
English
yeah.
major and all this stuff, like
Growl Tiger
it's
enthusiast.
it's
Yeah.
here for you. It's like 100 pages. It's really not that long. I
Oh,
read it
cool, yeah.
recently, and it's like his handwritten notes. So it's like it
Oh
reads
my
like a
gosh.
diary.
Oh, that's cool. I absolutely should read that. Yeah, hear that, listeners?
It
You
was
should read
hard.
that.
It was hard to find, so I will emphasize that like it's not a well published book anymore.
Right.
You can find it on that big online retailer for books, but you might be able to find
Sure.
it at a local bookstore. I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was on eBay the other day and I came across, I forget what it's called, you probably know, but some original actor who played Bustopher Jones at a minimum, maybe among other roles, but definitely Bustopher Jones because he was on the cover, like A Cat's Story or A Cat's Diary. And
That's him. That's
is
Stephen Hannah.
oh
Yeah.
that's the one.
Because
Oh, okay,
Bus for
gotcha.
Jones is Gus and Bus for Jones. So it's
Okay,
the track is
gotcha.
called Bus Gus.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay,
Yeah. So
gotcha.
that's the
Yeah, yeah,
book.
there it is. Okay, great.
It's if you haven't read it, you should. It's great. It was really
Yeah,
interesting read
yeah,
about like hearing it from Joanne Lynn and like what creating the, because this is basically creating the show at this point. Like
right.
it was still early on where they were figuring it out. So that might not even, it might have been, I don't know if it was original Broadway, I don't remember where, but it was like helping develop the characters.
Wow, oh, wonderful. Yeah, once I, get my Georgetown senior ball dress and know how much of a chunk that's taken out of my bank account, I will spend the $5 to buy my copy. Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing.
I am frightened. Yeah, anyway, thank you a
Yes.
lot. Yeah.
What about favorite song from the show?
Oh, I think Skimbleshanks. You can't really beat that.
So fun.
I actually did from an animation project, and I know we're running low on time, so I'll keep this brief. But for an animation project for a Georgetown class 2 years ago, we were asked to make an animated music video for some piece of music, and so I chose the movie version of the overture. And I got it. So you might have heard of Copic or Copic markers. It's like alcohol markers. Yeah. So the idea is like the ink blends when it's on paper. I don't know if that made it different from other inks when put in water. Who knows? But basically, I took a pan of water and I squirted alcohol marker ink into the water pan, had a camera above it, and just slammed the take picture button like as fast as I could, and then made a stop motion video of the liquid of different colors moving around. And I had that line up with the overture. And like, to be honest, that thing is one of my most prized personal pieces of artwork. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. But you
Can
know,
people
in
see
terms
it
of
somewhere?
yeah, no, it's on my website.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
link
it's
it.
really cool. It's also on my Instagram, but from a year or two ago. But you know, in terms of the songs, I love just the energy of Skimbleshanks is awesome. But there's something just magical about the melodies that Andrew Lloyd Webber came up with that sound just psycho, but they work so well.
Totally.
If you listen to them enough times, they start to make sense.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
raise his eyebrows and like it's a cult. But yeah.
I love it.
So,
All right. $1 million question.
mm-hmm.
I've argued at length. I don't think Grisabella was the right Jellicle choice. Do you agree with me? Or if you're defending Grisabella, whoever you're defending, I want to hear your rationale for who should go.
Sure. I mean, I think it really depends on the answer to this question really depends on what you think death is and what you think the Heaviside Layer is and your belief in the religion that these cats have chosen to follow. If you think that the Heaviside Layer is in fact heaven of some kind, like some kind of superior existence, then I think that it should have been Munkustrap simply because of what he did for the tribe and protecting them and guiding them through. I think in terms of having accumulated the most like moral high ground, I think, and social capital, I think it should have been him. If you think it should be, if you think that it's hell or nothing, then McCavity probably, especially if you're going off of the abuse thing. So that would be my answer. Is that a reasonable answer?
I think it's interesting. I've not actually taken that. I've never heard that version. Like what is the, because I think the part that makes this so interesting is it's an annual thing. So if it's an annual thing, I always think about criteria of who gets chosen, like who was picked last year, who's picked next year. Right. And so that's a different and like interesting way to think about it is like depending on what you think the Heaviside Layer is, because I think most people assume it's a cat being reborn. So it's like you go, you die, but then you come back as something new. And there's some pieces that you could assume in there. Like I've heard assumptions that Victoria was last year's, and that's why she's the new kind of young.
Wow. Ooh,
I've heard some. I also think there's like a baby Grizz that dances in the opening number in the current show. That's I think just they needed another ensemble character. But I'm like, is that foreshadowing her being choice because that's her reborn character? So there's like some stuff like that that can go. But if you think about it that way, it does give a different question of like who's worthy based on that. And that is,
Right.
Munkustrap's probably your answer there.
Yeah, he seems to have done the most for the common good, and in terms of deserving some reward for that, if the only available reward besides, food or, or a trip to the dumpster where Busterberg Jones gets his food,
Yeah.
like if that's the only available reward on the table, then yes, dying and being reborn would be the best option.
Yeah. I love it. I think you got a different way to think about it, which I like.
Thank you.
Does that answer is it you're still the same answer for the movie, for the 2019 movie? Is Munkustrap still your choice there?
He seemed to play less of a role. Like in the movie, it seemed like he was just Victoria's guide as opposed to the audience's guide.
Yeah.
I struggle to remember off the top of my head moments where, unlike old Deuteronomy, Munkustrap actually looked into the camera and addressed the audience. So I feel like he did less for the group there.
Yeah.
I'd
Judi
have
Dench
to watch.
talks to you.
Right, I'd have to watch the scene on the boat again to figure out which one had the idea to rebel and mutiny and cut things loose. I feel like it was Jenny Anydots who did that on the barge?
I've seen the movie the one time in the press, and I didn't make it to the barge the second time because I tried to show my family when it came out on video, or like it was out to watch wherever it was playing. And they got about halfway, and they looked at me and they go, "Does this get any better?" And I think it was Taylor Swift, and I go, "Not really." And they're like, "Okay, we're done," and they turned it off. So I don't remember at all.
Yeah,
I have to rewatch it.
It's funny. I was at a friend's house in October, and we had actually really hyped it up. Like, we're gonna watch Cats, and it's for Alex, but we're also excited to see this monstrous movie. And then like two of them left 20 minutes in, and didn't come back until the following morning. Apparently, they were walking around the National Mall for no reason. Like they'd rather walk around the National Mall at 2 a.m. and put themselves in danger of being like mugged or shot instead of watching this thing. So I've been there in a very precise way. I've been exactly there.
It's they made a decision, and I'm not sure. I might have been walking with them. So I need to watch it again. I did watch the 1998 movie. The very first time I watched it was about halfway through me recording I did monologues for the first 10 episodes where I explained which cat was more worthy. And it was probably about halfway through that. And I watched it on a plane. This was pre-COVID. I was traveling a bunch for work. And let me tell you, watching Cats on an iPad on a plane gets a lot of really weird looks. So even that, I was distracted because everyone's looking over my shoulder. Everyone's looking at me. And I was like dressed up for work. So I was like, I look pretty professional.
No, you dressed up specifically just to watch Cats
to watch
on
Cats on a plane.
This is important.
So, and so I got a lot of looks. And so I don't remember even that. I've seen that in pieces more. But the 2019 movie, it was one full viewing. And that was probably more than most people.
You've made me want to buy a plane ticket for the pure singular purpose of just watching Cats on it, maybe in costume, just to get reactions.
You will, I live in New York and I ride the subway all the time. And all the time I'm always like on the subway, I'm like, you could be in a Cats costume. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing you see on the subway.
Yeah, I'm going to Broadway Con this summer, and I'm already doing preliminary logistical plans, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to stay somewhere, and I'm not gonna want to do the whole 45-minute face thing in the bathroom at the con. Like I'm probably gonna have to ride the subway, and I'm having to come to terms with that.
We will, I did a live episode at the last in-person one, which was to like February, I think, of 2019. It was our 2020. It was like right before. And I did have somebody in a Mistopheles costume. It was awesome.
Hey.
So I should be there this year. So we'll
great. Oh my gosh.
We will be there. But
hypothetically, I'm running an Andrew Lloyd Webber cosplay panel, but I'm like a month late on giving them my logistical plan. It's not even a panel. I just said, hey, you should put on the schedule that everyone with an Andrew Lloyd Webber costume should meet up somewhere. And so like they asked understandably for like PowerPoints explaining with the content of my presentation. And I just, even with the reduced amount of work that my idea involves, I had been like 2 months late. So hopefully I still can do it and I don't have to buy a $300 ticket as a result of my delay. But yeah, I'm running that if that happens.
I will be there. I will probably not be in costume, but I will be there. I can bring the
Where's
tail.
the shirt that you're wearing?
I have the shirt. I'm wearing a Jellicle shirt. I have a shirt that's a cat lifting weights that says training for the heaviside layer.
That's cute.
so I can wear my cat stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can people stay in touch with you? Like website,
Oh,
social
yeah.
media? Like how can we follow your political satire and everything else?
Thank you. Yeah, please. I think Instagram's the platform I'm trying to build up the most at the moment. Just the algorithm is killing me. It's killing artists in general. I think it has since decades ago or whenever it was founded. So Instagram at Alexandra Bowman Art, spelled like it sounds. And then Twitter would be great too. I did political cartoons for the Lincoln Project, so I'm lucky to have developed a significant following of like 21,000. It keeps alternating between 20.9 and 21K. So if you can just help me get over that, that would be nice. So that's scripta_bene, because my email address is bene.scripta, because when I was 12, my mom told me to pick an email address that I wouldn't have to change later on. So according to Google Translate, written well or good writing is scripta bene, or bene scripta, which I've been told is not correct. So I'm just I was hoping to keep that private, but I think I've screwed myself over to some degree.
Sweet. Spell Twitter. I'll link it too, but spell Twitter for anybody that's
Thank
listening.
you. It's at Scripta, SCRIPTA _Bene, BENE. At Scripta_Bene. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
We'll
you.
link it. We'll link it in the description, but just for anyone listening. So
Please.
This is awesome.
This has been a joy. Thank
So
you, Mike.
fun.
Oh man, I wish I could do this all the time. I have all these takes that I can't tell anyone without them running from me. But anyway, I appreciate it. I have joined a cult. It's a cult about cults.
It is a cult on a cult.
And you can use that in your thumbnail on your post about this episode. It's a cult about cults.
It's a cult about cults. Yeah, you've had some great lines here, so we definitely got some quotes to pull from this. So, well, thank you for being an amazing guest, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.